Hello and welcome to the South Wales Wedding Podcast by Music HQ. Each week we lift the veil on one of South Wales' leading wedding suppliers and get to know the real people behind the business. Over to you, Suze.
Hello, welcome to the South Wales Wedding Podcast. I'm Susie Aston.
And I'm Ryan Aston.
From Music HQ, but today we've got a very beautiful guest with us. She is an international documentary wedding photographer who also has a first-class honours degree in journalism.
Watch out. Here we go.
She has an outstanding reputation for producing unique, relaxed and natural-looking images that really stand out from the crowd, combining contemporary wedding vibes with creative, fine art photography. Her aim is always to create a timeless and stunning visual that creates and captures the spirit of your day, the laughter, the tears, the details that you spent so long on planning, and a real sense of who you guys are as a couple. So, without further ado, please welcome beautiful Francesca Hill.
I'll put some sound effects on for that bit, yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's so good to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, we couldn't not have you. We've just done one of your wedding fairs, haven't we?
You have, yes.
Which was a massive success, wasn't it? We should talk about that a little bit.
So I'm told.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was a really good day, I have to say.
Did you guys have a good time?
Oh, it was amazing. Everything about it. We had one of our bands, Velvet Soul, were performing.
Clang.
Clang. Anyway, we don't want to talk too much about us.
No.
Tell us what kind of organisation goes into something that big. I dread to think, honestly.
It's a lot of organisation and a lot of hyper-focusing on my part, I would say. There's a lot of detail. Normally takes... Well, pre-COVID, it used to take about 6 months to organise. But obviously, with so much change in recent years, I've managed to get those shows out in shorter time frames. But this one was about 3 to 4 months. And yeah, it's all day, every day.
And I imagine you've got a massive team with you sorting that kind of stuff out?
No, only on the day. So
really?
Up until the actual day of the show, it's just me.
Wow.
I mean, where do you get the time between for your photography and then organising those amazing events that are so good for all of our wedding industry community?
I would say it depends on the time of year. So for the April one, obviously I'm a little bit quieter photography-wise, but for the October one, it's very much sort of work 9 a.m. till 1 a.m. in the run-up to the show. Yeah, so
I mean, you're a rock and roll chick. You can handle it.
Yeah. I'd say it's 9 to 5 editing, and then the show would be in the evening at that time. But yeah, I mean, it's when it comes together and it happens, it's amazing. And it's only afterwards that I kind of look at it and go, oh, wow, I created that. That's amazing.
Do you set the limit on the amount of events you'll take on?
I wouldn't do more than 2. Oh, do you mean weddings?
Sorry, yeah.
Wedding photography-wise. Yeah, I mean, I would say I wouldn't go over 40.
Okay.
Best case scenario is probably 25 to do 2 wedding shows.
Okay, yeah.
I only did the 1 wedding show last year because I just thought I can't do another year of 2 wedding shows and lots of weddings, and I had too many weddings basically.
What are you like on the day of one of those shows?
Oh God!
Because I have to say, you came across completely relaxed. I suppose the hard work before allows you to be like that, but
no, I think I've just got a work persona. So obviously on the day, yes, I may come across hi, how's it going? Yeah, everything's great. And then I'm in the toilet like, oh my gosh, I can't cope. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, on the day, it's just non-stop. I mean, we get there at about 12:30, midnight, like before, because Depot is an evening venue. We can't go in on a Saturday to set up, so we start midnight-ish. Wow. Used to be 3 a.m, but obviously...
You work through the night?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so by the time people are actually arriving, I have no idea what day it is. Literally.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, we haven't actually met the big Welsh wedding show held at the Depot. It's brilliant. There's fashion shows, live music, brilliant vendors. Honestly, we just had such a great time. You should be so proud of yourself juggling your actual job and then enabling all that fabulousness for everyone else. So you started out in journalism. Is that's what you did?
I did a degree in journalism and very quickly...
First class honours, no less.
Yeah, don't want to brag, but if I'm completely honest, the degree was actually quite history and politics based and not very creative at all. So
Yeah, you're a bit more rock and roll than that, aren't you? Than
I
history
am.
and politics.
I try to be.
But that's what I think when I look at your photos, that's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
They are relaxed, but like you say, this fine art thing as well, but they've got a bit of an edge, I think. They're really cool, modern photos. They give me like...
I'll take that, yeah.
You know, like cool...
What would you describe your style as?
I think it's evolved over the years. I think when I first started out, I didn't know enough. So obviously, even though I sort of marketed myself as not traditional, I think I was quite traditional because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And then as the years have gone on, I've sort of worked out what you need to evolve the style, which is essentially the dresses and the look and the venues that you're shooting at.
Yeah.
So obviously, as the business has grown, where I shoot has changed. The types of weddings that I do have changed. And I did definitely have a sort of really gritty urban moment.
Yeah.
And I'm still into that.
Yeah.
But I'm also very aware that I live in Wales and not London. And we've got a lot of green, so I've kind of got to
But I guess you
that.
probably broached that with any potential clients in the early days of what they want themselves, or do they leave it with you?
I think the marketing, so the images I put out is what...
You attract.
People who like those images are the people that will then book me as a photographer. So it's very rare that, in fact, probably never actually, a bride doesn't necessarily say to me what images they want.
No.
Obviously, everybody wants group shots, couple shots, but they wouldn't say, unless there's something specific, like, I don't know, a swing. Swing or something.
Swingers,
But generally, I mean, my friends constantly go on about this because I talk about light a lot, but ultimately the way the end image looks is based on the light.
Yeah.
So I'm not one that would say, oh, this venue's got a swing, we must use this. It's where is the light at this time that we're doing couple shots, and we'll go from there. And if I can find somewhere urban or something a bit different, then I will. I'd rather that than the kind of
You're
greenery.
absolutely right, though, about the marketing. What you put out, you attract back. So that's a great tip for anyone else in the industry, like wanting some advice, because your image, you know, you're going to attract a certain type of client, and it's great that that's working for you.
Fingers crossed.
You mentioned about venues at the risk of alienating. Have you got a favourite?
I like Sanford House. You do get lovely light there.
And the glamour.
The glamour, yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's so many, isn't there?
Yeah.
Outside of Wales, there's a couple of really nice ones in Hereford. Can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice though, but I you know, I'm no photographer, but light is so important. And I think that, but you can just see that in your images. They're so cool.
All of your photos are in silhouette, Zeus.
Mine, yeah. That's what I said. I'm no photographer, but I know.
Silhouette is a great get out, actually. If you can't do anything else, make it arty.
Yeah. So look, we've talked quite a lot of shop there, but the idea of the podcast is to try to get to know you a little bit better. So we've got some questions for you. Go on, Zeus, fire away.
Like quickly first, so I was reading that bio that everyone gets a bit embarrassed with.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that your friends were going to write one for you.
Yes.
Can you tell us the truth? what they say about you?
Yeah, so I've got a large female group chat, a group of friends, and I asked them to write it, and the common denominators were always late to social occasions, doesn't reply to WhatsApps post 10 p.m, usually midnight she sort of starts up in the group chat, can't cook, hates ovens. The other one is a very long story about cookies. So in lockdown, it was to do with me and cookies. I tried to bake a set of cookies in lockdown with my daughter, and it just turned into one giant cookie, basically. And that pretty much sums me up as a person, really, where you've got this very organised, sort of wedded show organiser, photography business person, and then absolute chaos on the other side.
Do you know what? I think it's the same with a lot of people in our industry. We have to be so focused on those things, but when it comes to our own actual lives, it's
awful.
Just a shambles. You've got a daughter. I didn't know you had a daughter.
Yeah.
How old is she?
She's just turned 11.
Oh, wow. So an old daughter, yeah. Ours is just turned 10, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Into the TikTok, into the beauty skincare regime, the Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, so I won't allow TikTok.
Oh, gosh, she's a good mum.
Yeah, no TikTok,
Shame.
but skincare, yeah, big time. I hate that.
They're brainwashed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I try and explain it to her as well in terms of the marketing of these brands and how it works. And, but the YouTuber said this. Yes, exactly. The YouTuber's getting paid to say this, but she doesn't
terrifying,
listen.
isn't it?
Yeah,
I feel you. All right, so we are here with Music HQ today. I want to know, what do you remember the first gig you ever went to?
Oh, I'm not much of a gig person. It would probably be. Does Kelly Clarkson count? Is that a gig?
That's pretty epic.
Where was that?
Well, actually, no. My first ever was Celine Dion.
Wow.
I was a child and I went with my mum and her friend.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Did it blow you away or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. The live element of it. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
And Celine Dion, geez, that's one of my all-time favourites.
Yeah, amazing singer. Yeah.
You can do your impression, Suze?
No. No. Oh, it's so gross. No, we should have had a champagne, shouldn't we? Then I definitely would have done it. And when you're listening to music now, do you listen to music to chill or in the car or whatever? What would you be listening to?
So, a random story. So, my dad is a musician, or was a musician.
What does he do?
Guitar and sings. He was on New Faces. I don't know if that's beyond your time, but it was like
is my time.
It was the old version of X Factor, essentially.
Wow.
So I've grown up in a musical household, so I would say my music taste is very eclectic. And I do listen to it in the car. I've recently bought a piano. Which was the best thing ever.
Is that for you?
Yeah.
So you're learning now?
I can play.
You can
but
play,
I just haven't had a piano in my house for years. My mum and dad have got one, so obviously sometimes when I pop home, I'm like,
that's so cool. I was going to say, is there any secret skills that you have that people might not know about you? And there's one of them. She's a pianist.
I mean, I wouldn't stretch that far, but I play by ear, so I think that was actually a limitation when I was young and trying to learn, because once I knew it in my head or I'd heard it, I knew it, and that stopped me reading music. So I don't read music; I just play by ear.
That's amazing. That I actually love that skill. I think it's a different vibe, isn't it, to people that are just stuck to the notes, which equally has got its place, but. She's a freestyler.
Yes.
What else? I bet you've got other little tricks up your sleeve. Come on.
What, just music based?
No, not music based at all. What's your party piece?
Oh God,
it better be rude.
I can make a bra out of a napkin. My mum taught me that when I was a child.
Wow,
so that's a good one to rock out at parties. To be honest, I'm quite quiet actually. I will, even in a party environment, obviously I'll sit and talk and chat, but I'm not the one sort of jumping around being a loon.
A secret introvert.
Yes, very much so. Like when my friends are bouncing around the room, I'm sort of the one just looking on. Going, okay.
But not in a judgy way.
Yeah, not in a judgy way. No, I'm just quite shy. I'm quite shy, and then I'd have to be absolutely smashed to take it that bit further, and I don't really do that either.
So are you like that at a wedding when you're taking photos? Are you sort of in the background, or are you?
No, I've had to learn actually to be more assertive. When I first started out, I had this idea of it'll be really natural and staged and unchoreographed, but ultimately you're not going to get what you need.
You've got to herd the troops.
So, exactly. So there are elements of the day, obviously, where it's candid and you won't know I'm there, but in terms of group shots, you have to organise that. And actually, I'd say I've grown in confidence, because I when I started, I was even more shy than I am now, and I've had to learn to be more assertive to get the job done. So I've got like a work persona, I guess.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good. So, what are you watching at the moment on the television? Do you get much time for that? Or?
When I'm editing, for organisation of the show, I haven't watched telly all year because I have to be able to hear my thoughts and really concentrate. So now
I watch it to drown my notes, to be honest.
Now the show's done and I'm into sort of editing mode. I have it on in the background most of the day, or podcasts actually.
Okay.
But my most recent one, it's very dark, is Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. It came onto Netflix, and it's very, very dark.
That sounds right up Susie's street.
Yeah, that's a bit of me.
Do you like a murder podcast?
No, weirdly, I'm not into the true crime thing, but I am into just general other darkness. But I mean, I've obviously watched all the classics like Grey's Anatomy. I loved that. That was like 20 seasons. I think that kept me going for the whole of wedding.
We've never done it.
Oh, you need to watch that. Yeah, that literally saved me in 2021. I watched 20 seasons through editing season. And what else do I watch? Just anything on Netflix, really.
Yeah.
Married at First Sight, Australia.
Maths.
We just finished it, actually. And I have to confess, I am a fan.
Big fan.
It's
You miss
escapism,
don't
isn't it?
you?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Again, like, we're so busy with one thing or another. It's nice to switch off sometimes, isn't it? And turn the brain off. What about if you're going to relax in any other way? Anywhere you like to go or anything you like to do to chill?
I'm a big reader. I read a lot. And
Fiction or non-fiction?
all trash, just absolute trash to take my mind off the stress of running a business. And I mean, I train in the gym.
Nice.
I train. Put that
For the gains.
Yeah, I need the
Well, you
chicken.
look great.
Thanks. I've actually, through the organisation of the show, I've been this morning, but prior to that, I've missed a month, so I'm going to have to go through the
So
whole...
hard to get into it, so easy to fall off, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah, I fell off the wagon big time. But yeah, I'd say the gym for mental health and chilling, reading. And my new one, actually, very random, is I've started playing Theme Hospital. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
What the hell is
What
that?
on earth?
So
I've never
basically,
heard
when
of
I
this.
was a teenager, I used to play The Sims Theme Hospital, and there was another one, Hotel Giant, where you'd run your
Right.
own hotel. And randomly, I just needed something to just shut my brain off. I don't know when, I think it was January. I was like, let's see, can I download that on my laptop? So yeah, Theme Hospital, basically you run your hospital, and it is like running a business, but without any real life consequences.
You just added stress to your life, really.
Yeah, when I can't complete the level, I'm like, turn it off. This is supposed to be fun.
Because if it's not going well, people die.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They do, you
Is it? Yeah.
float up.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, like angels, yeah. Or like when you get a telegram and it says, oh, your hospital's got an epidemic. I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
not now.
I can't go for this.
I've got edits to do.
So yeah, a bit random, but that's my...
So old school gamer.
apparently so, yeah.
Like
And
it.
does it just like crack on while you're not?
No, you have
No,
to
Killing
sort of,
people
okay.
while the laptop's off.
No,
Okay,
you
right,
just
right.
quit the game.
So you
and-
couldn't just like go back to it and all hell's broken loose after you've
No.
been away for a week or whatever?
Yeah,
right,
no.
okay.
No, that was, remember Farmville on Facebook? That
I've
was
never
another
done
one of my
any of
teenage
that kind of
years.
stuff. I have to confess, I'm not much of a gamer.
Well, that was, so Facebook had this thing, it was, you used to have to plant crops, and if you didn't like log in every day and water them, then your whole farm would die, basically. So yeah, that was a really flawed game.
Good way to get people obsessed, though,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Well, it was a thing when, oh God, when I was about 18, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, it's
I
gone.
missed that.
Gone now.
Thank God. So you are a very glamorous lady.
Oh God, you should
a
see
woman
me
of
on the school run in the
world.
morning.
So, where do you like to go out? If you're going on a date night or your, special occasion, where do you go out for dinner? What's your top tips?
What, in Cardiff?
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Could be anywhere in the world, actually. Let's start with Cardiff.
There's a few in Pontcanna that are really nice in Cardiff. So, what's it called? Thomas by Thomas or something. Tom
Sims,
something like that.
Yeah, someone mentioned that the other
awful
day.
that I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
But it is. I've got to say it right, haven't I? Is it Thomas? Tom by Thomas Simmons? Is that
Yeah,
right?
something. It's
Something like that. Tom Simmons.
Definitely
We'll call it
begins
Tom
with
Simmons. Yeah, that's really, really nice. And I don't eat steak, but pasture.
Yeah.
The Botanist, I quite like. The
Yeah.
Ivy. These are all places I go with my photographer friend Hannah Miles, actually.
Big shout out to Hannah Miles.
Hi, Hannah.
They're probably more brunch type places, actually, because I've got a child, I'm more of a day outing than an evening
Yes.
outing these days. Yeah, all the expensive places, basically.
Yeah. That's great. And what about if you could go to any restaurant in the world? Have you got a fave abroad or a favourite place to go abroad on holiday or?
I lived in Australia and Thailand for a little while.
Wow.
Thailand, that food was special, I think. I mean, I know it can make people really ill if you go wrong, but
It's worth the risk.
Yeah. Yeah, that was different. It was very different to UK food, so I'd probably go with that. And Australia, I didn't rate the food, I've got to be honest.
I loved the food in
we
Australia.
loved it, yeah.
Where in Australia did you live?
Sydney.
Oh, same. See, I just
Yeah,
loved it.
Maybe I just didn't get out much to the good places.
Do you know, I
don't
just
know.
always loved like a brunchy breakfast.
Yeah.
With feta cheese and like sweet
Yeah.
potatoes.
Oh,
And
yeah, go for all
the
that,
eggs
yeah.
and the spinach and like all
Yeah.
just lovely, unusual things.
Yeah.
In Bondi. Remember, we actually met in Australia, didn't we?
We
Oh, wow.
did, yes.
Lucky you.
Yeah, New South Wales.
Oh, wow. wow.
We're back in Old South Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dragged you back, didn't I, love?
Yeah,
Kicking and screaming.
Abraham's not quite the same as Bondi, is it? But hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah, no, I love Oz. I can see you in Oz, actually.
Really?
Yeah. And a good friend of ours just come back from Thailand. And Thailand seems to be the place to be at the moment.
Yeah, it's randomly actually. My brother's moved to Dubai a couple of years ago, and he went to Thailand first before he moved there. And he ended up on the same. I lived on a tiger Muay Thai, how do you say it? Like a fighting camp, essentially. And he ended up there. So I think it must be the place to go to.
Wow.
If you're going to go and stay, and it was Phuket.
Did you do any fighting?
No. In fact, they were very judgmental then. It may have changed now, but when I rocked up, I was sort of eating a packet of crisps because it's very much, it's sort of, you sit down, you can chat to people at tables, and that's okay, you know. There's no social boundaries. And yeah, I remember this girl sort of looked at me like, does that not interfere with your training?
Really?
And at the time, I don't think I did train, but not properly, really. I'm just enjoying my crisps.
What crisps were they? Can you remember?
Monster Munch.
Just crisps, probably Lay's, if they had them.
Yeah, they have them.
So is that still a favourite holiday destination? Have you been back since, or?
No, I haven't been back since. No, I'm keen to go to Dubai again, mainly to see my brother, but also it's really nice there,
It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, I've done all the Canary Islands / Spain, etc. But I don't know, I haven't really... Oh, Santorini's on my list. And Mykonos.
Oh, yeah.
More from a work perspective, though, like wedding-wise.
Put it out there in the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Manifest.
Do you do many destination weddings?
Not so much these days, again, because I feel awful now because of my child. But
But they are a pain, aren't they?
It's difficult because you're taking off more than the one day.
Yeah.
So it's obviously organising childcare for that period of time, be it 3-4 days. And also, I find it quite anxiety-inducing, sort of carrying my business on my back.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got your laptop, you've got your memory cards, you've got to you've shot a wedding, you've got to get it home. I found it quite worrying.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's hard, isn't it? Like, same as us, we work a lot internationally, and it is, if the thing that you've got there is broken, it's not as easy as running to Argos or wherever you get your stuff from. I don't know, do I?
No. I mean, we split our things across a couple of cases.
Costumes as well. I sometimes think, right, I normally take 2 sets of costumes. So I've got enough shoes in that case to because luggage does go missing and things as well.
Well,
so,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, God, I can't even bear to think about it. The idea that my cameras have gone and I've got to do a wedding going, awful.
Right. Is there anything on your bucket list or any place that you haven't been to that you would love to go? I know you've just said Mykonos or something, but what about the bucket list? Any skydives or?
No, I mean, weirdly, as I'm getting older, I am sort of searching out that adrenaline buzz a little bit more. I went.
What do you say? You're searching for that?
Yeah, I went indoor rock climbing, and I'm terrified of heights, and I did that fairly recently. I want to go on a zip wire.
Have you been? There's one.
I know. I keep meaning to book it. What's that inflatable place? I know these are really boring ones, but it's just obviously because I work weekends, I never have any time to go and do things that I want to do. So those are kind of on my list. But destination-wise, there's Joshua Tree in America, Yosemite, those kind of places. Again, it's all kind of photography linked though, where I'm like, I'd really like to shoot a bride and groom there.
Put it in the universe. We're manifesting today. That's what we're doing here.
New York, LA. I'll take them all, yeah.
And obviously you're super busy. What would you do to relax? What's your perfect chill day? Do you ever get to do one?
I've got to be honest, no. It's only when I'm ill. Which, if I'm ill and I physically cannot work, then I just lie on the settee with my duvet and watch Netflix. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, definitely this year, I've worked pretty much 7 days a week, obviously, because of the show.
Oh, God. You need a break. What about a nice drink? What should you go to drink if you have a little chill?
Sauvignon Blanc. In amongst all the working, there's a lot of wine going on there in the background. Sauvignon Blanc, definitely. And the odd shandy here and there.
Oh God, we had a shandy the other night.
Oh my
Prosecco.
gosh.
A Prosecco.
I like a Prosecco as well.
Yeah.
But the shandy, we just finished the gig and the client had brought beers
And we don't
in.
really drink, do we? Well, I say that. We drink all the time.
I was like,
Don't really drink apart from Mondays and Tuesdays.
yeah, and Wednesdays,
Fridays.
Not when we're working.
But
though.
no, not when we're working. And then, so after the show, they brought these beers in and you made a little shandy. And it was the most amazing
Yeah.
drink I've had for ages.
I think it was because it was a nice bottle
Cold
of
beer.
beer and full fat Sprite. That's
that's
right.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
What about a cocktail? What's your go-to cocktail?
Strawberry daiquiri.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, definitely.
Good shout.
Actually, my new one is Bloody Marys. I'd never tried them until about 18 months ago, and Hannah Miles Photography introduced me to those, and I love them.
I actually am quite passionate. It's the spice, and it's just
Yeah.
basically like drinking a fun tomato soup, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
So,
I'm like
So-
self-harm levels of spice, but yeah, that was a
I
revelation.
think there's a tin of Heinz in the house, actually. So
yeah, I'll just drink it later.
let's go. This podcast is brought to you by Music HQ, the largest and dare I say loveliest provider of live wedding bands in South Wales and the South West. So, get in touch and chat with one of our wedding music experts about your big day. Now on with the podcast.
Right, have you got any pet hates?
Oh, loads.
Oh, here we go. Get to the good stuff.
What, in terms of weddings or just life?
Like, you could be both.
either
I
or.
think.
Live.
Both.
Poor customer service really, really gets on my nerves. Just because, obviously, I'm so careful with how I run my business, and I always try and respond to everyone. Even if I can't do a wedding, I'll always respond and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I recommend these people." So yeah, when there's kind of bigger companies are awful, it really, really annoys me, because I think if I can do it, you can do it. So yeah, that's definitely one. Any others? Although I know,
Okay,
I'm sure there are loads.
Anything
but-
in the wedding industry that bothers you?
Name and shame.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a pet hate, but there does. I do often sort of overhear, not often, but sometimes I'll overhear people sort of conversing on what I'm doing. So it might be like, why is she doing photos there when there's this beautiful view here? Because the light's over here.
Yeah.
But obviously I can't say anything, and I might
You mean
occasionally.
if you overheard guests at weddings talking like that?
A lot.
The expert
yeah.
guests.
The expert guests. So expert guests, yeah. It doesn't, I mean, obviously I've been doing it years, so it doesn't bother me as such, but you know, I hate to think they think that I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So obviously I want to be like, oh no, actually it's because whatever. But so yeah, I wouldn't say it's a pet hate, but yeah, that definitely happens. iPhones, I'll be completely honest, I hate iPhones at weddings. It drives me insane. But again, I'm in work, I'm sort of calm persona, nothing gets to me on that day. But obviously, if I look at the bigger picture, it's become really quite difficult sometimes to do your job.
It's hard, you know, to have any sort of exclusivity these days because everyone's posting. And I've been to lots of weddings lately where there is a strict don't post any photos
Unplugged,
policy.
yeah.
Which is so much nice because before you've even had you want your photos, the first ones that go out there as a bride or groom to be fabulous from your gorgeous photographer that you've paid money to have.
Do you feel pressure to get the media out there ASAP?
Yeah,
or have you
well,
made your peace with that and just...
I've never been one to provide previews. So I'm not contracted to provide previews because I've never put it in there. Mostly because obviously if you're shooting a wedding Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that's impossible. Yeah. But also just because I am so perfectionistic, a preview for me, it's not going to take me 20 minutes because I will sit there and faff.
Yeah. Right,
and then I'll have a little panic of, but what if these aren't actually the best ones? I better go back in and see if there's other ones.
Yeah.
And then I'll sit and tweak the colours, and it just, for me, it would send me crazy. So I've kind of got away with not doing it unless someone asks. If someone asks, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I've generally not done it. And then obviously in the last year or so, it has become more of a thing. So I am trying to do it now and sort of settle my overly perfectionistic tendencies.
There's a balance to be had, isn't it? Because I do feel like there's sometimes we've been on events and there's photographers and videographers doing the previews. They've got like an extra team in the background.
Person.
And before you've even
It's
left
like a
the
race.
venue, particularly abroad.
It's massive.
In Istanbul, that one is springing to mind there. But it's like, that's a lot of pressure. And like you say, you're a perfectionist, and people should just be patient and wait for the perfection, shouldn't they? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so. But I'm not sure how much longer I'll get away with that for. But yeah, I think I wouldn't do it on the day of the wedding either, because again, if you are editing, or the way I edit, you need if I were to crack my laptop out in here, for example, the colours aren't going to be right, and what I'm seeing on screen is not going to be right in this environment. So you need no sort of other light sources really interfering, so they would be wrong, basically.
It's an art.
And now my OCD is really starting to come out.
But there is lots of...
but there's levels to everything, isn't there? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
And now the new trend is content creators, and, not going to knock anyone for doing that, but then that's even more pressure, isn't it? Because it's just throwaway, non-perfection, and...
Yeah, I've worked with one and she was great. She was lovely. I mean, how much do you say? The only thing I question on it, like I totally get the concept of behind the scenes video clips for social media. It's instantaneous. I get the concept. And I'm like, yeah, great. I'm not sure I understand why they're taking iPhone photographs. I don't really understand that. That's bizarre to me.
Yeah, because you could still do a quick turnaround if you're not...
Yeah, well, I just don't understand. It's like, you're there to get behind the scenes. I don't really understand the need for them to photograph on the iPhone. To then, obviously, I guess a lot of people, I was chatting to somebody about this recently, a lot of people will look at photos obviously differently to how I would. Yeah. And so someone might look at an iPhone photo and go, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Whereas I'm like, yeah, what's it going to look like when you print it? Or, how sharp is that? Zoom in, how are your pixels looking? Yeah. I guess 99% of people probably don't think like that.
No, and even I would be guilty of that, because things are just so disposable, aren't they? But what you're creating is forever. It's a forever memory.
Yeah, it's not throwaway, is it?
It's not throwaway.
Yeah.
Everything's convenient and throwaway. Yeah.
If you weren't a photographer, what do you think you would have been? You mentioned the TV and the producer. Yeah,
that got parked quite quickly. I did look at being a solicitor at one stage, but I felt that it wouldn't creatively serve me. Because I am sort of big attention to detail and I do hyper-focus, I think there are elements of that career that would suit me, but then I would be very creatively stifled. So I did look at that. I used to work for Lucasade Sport, and might have gone down the kind of national account manager route if I'd stuck that out. But to be honest, my dad ran a business and I've grown up around that. I think I always thought I will have a business of some sort.
I read on your website about being a pop star.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I wrote that 10 years ago. There was a brief moment when I was about 8 when my dad had like microphones and things knocking about. So me and two of my neighbours at the time, we had a band.
Oh,
wow. We used to do little performances for my mum and dad and obviously their parents.
Oh.
So that was a very, very brief moment. I'm far too shy. There's absolutely no way you would catch me on
So we can't sign you up to Music HQ anytime soon?
Absolutely not. No, I would. No, me on a stage. I mean, it would never. I wouldn't even do karaoke.
It's been so good to have you here today. I want to know if you could describe your business in one sentence. And I know this is very hard to do. Put you on the spot. What would you say?
I guess it's an expression of my creativity, I would say. It's like, it is like when I look at the wedding show, for example, I obviously made a reel when it was all done and dusted, where I've had to put footage and photos together and all the different elements of it. And I'm like, oh wow, I created that. That's really, really amazing. Blowing my own trumpet. It's the only moment I have all year of going, wow, I did that. But it's an expression of my creativity, that show. It's from the exhibitor side to all the other elements. That's me funneling out creativity.
Even that, like you say, the exhibitors are chosen for a reason. There's not any old Tom, Dick and Harry, is there? There's like a real select bunch, and it's they're all the correct vibe for what you're trying to.
So we're getting close to the end here. What a key advice would you give to couples considering hiring someone like you?
I think every photographer probably says this, but you have to like the person you're hiring, because you are going to have to communicate with them all day. It is actually quite a bonding experience shooting somebody's wedding, because you are with them all day. And
I guess does that work both ways though as well? I mean, do you ever look at a couple and think we're not going to work?
Yeah, I do. In all, I'm very blunt and honest in general. Yeah, absolutely. Although I've got my OCD tendencies within my business, for the most part, I'm very laid back, very chilled. I don't want the opposite personality type to that. And to be fair, I don't think I attract that, because I'm sort of laid back, chilled. So then I attract that. But it is really, really important that you can develop a rapport. So you need to get on with them, because you're going to spend the day with them. I always, when I do a Zoom call with a couple, I'll always ask them, what other photographers are you looking at the moment, to see if they're kind of a similar vibe to me, because not often, but sometimes you'll get people who will mention another photographer who I know, because obviously we're quite a large community in Wales, and they might be sort of really heavily into flash photography. Well, there's two completely separate styles of photography, so that would be my cue to be like, okay, these are the differences between me and this person. Which style is it that you are drawn to? So being aware of those different styles, do you like the colours in the photo? Do you, the way that they're posed? My aim when I do a wedding is not to have the couple looking at the camera, in this really romantic, posy shot. That isn't my aim, so hence my images don't look like that. Yeah. If you want something really, really posed, I wouldn't be the photographer. So, so I'd say just be aware of those differences when you're looking. And I mean, that's really it. To be honest. Obviously, budget comes into it as well. But it's, what do you like? What colours do you like? What style do you like? And do you like this person? And can you get on with them for the day?
Yeah, nice.
Great advice, because, most people haven't booked a photographer for any big occasion.
No.
So it's quite an overwhelming, and there's so many photographers, like you say. But that advice, getting on a Zoom call and giving them your expertise for free, and helping them, guide them in whether they choose you or not, just to help. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, well, I'd rather that than they book me and then they come back afterwards and say, "Oh, actually, I don't like these photos."
It's not
I don't want to provide photos that people don't want. So yeah, I'm absolutely always willing to give people advice and help on choosing the right photographer for them. And equally, if I felt it wasn't right, I would say, "Listen, I don't think I'm what you're looking for." I'm lucky, obviously. I'm 10 years in. I have the ability to be able to do that. Obviously, early doors, I learned a lot of lessons and I had to say yes to everything. Now I'm a bit more like, well. I mean, to be fair, it's rare that you would get one that you wouldn't want to proceed with. But,
when you know.
But I do know, that would be the best thing to do in that scenario.
Has anything ever gone terribly wrong at a wedding?
Oh, loads of things. I mean,
anything stand out? Come on.
there was a wedding I did, and the best man dropped a baby in a vase.
Was the vase okay?
No, they had to see the baby. The vase got smashed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that
dropped a baby in a vase.
Yeah, so the vase went like this, like in what's that shape? Like a
curved, woman's body.
Yes, like a woman's body. So luckily, the baby wasn't actually hurt, because I think it almost provided like a chute, a cushioned chute for it to go down. But
like the baby went.
Yeah,
just
so
to be clear,
he must
the baby
have
went into the vase.
Yeah, I think the baby was about 6 months old. In fact, I was second shooting for Anderson Photography, so it wasn't even my wedding. So if you have him on here, he might tell the same story. But they must have sat the baby on the top of it, on the top of this vase thing, and it slid in, and then obviously they had to smash the vase to get the baby out.
Oh my God.
And the baby was fine. But I
probably thought it was at soft play.
I don't think the mother of the baby was that happy about it.
No.
But so there was that. I guess there are many, many stories, but I have to think of unidentifiable types of stories. I can't.
It's hard, isn't it, though?
I don't think I can think of any where I wouldn't sort of
not going to get into trouble.
Exactly. Exactly. But I think the baby one is...
That's a pretty good one. We'll go with that. So look, if anyone wants to find you online, where can they find you?
Instagram mostly these days. Obviously, I do have a website, but I think post-COVID, everyone's kind of shifted away from websites, so I do put a lot less time into that than I used to. And it's Instagram is where I...
What's the handle?
At Francesca _Hill _photography.
Beautiful.
I keep meaning to change that to just one. It's on the to-do list.
Yeah, and what about the Big Welsh Wedding Show? Can you remember the underscore?
It's the same. Yeah, it's at the _big _Welsh _wedding _show. And again, in the run up to the show, I was like, I should really just change that. Yeah.
Is there another wedding show in the pipeline?
Normally October.
Okay.
I'm still in the recovery stage from the latest one, but yeah, usually October. So April and October have historically been the months that
Brilliant.
That we've done it.
Well, we hope you do another one because it was fantastic.
Yeah, it
so
was.
thank you for joining us today. What an absolute dream.
Yeah, fabulous guest. Thank you so much.
And if you've enjoyed the podcast today, like and subscribe. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.